Hello everybody and welcome. I wanted to make this video to kind of go over the progress I've been making in Unreal 5 engine coursework that I've been doing. I've been using Game Dev TV for their learning program to pick up the Unreal Engine. I actually did this same course back in 2016 when it was their Unreal 4 course, and a lot of this carries over to Unreal 5. It's a lot of the same projects, only they've polished them up a little bit and have made them more for Unreal 5, obviously. So the point of this project is to kind of illustrate what you can do with their courses. I highly recommend Game Dev TV. If you're a beginner, if you're intermediate, or if you're advanced, it doesn't matter. They have a lot to offer in terms of learning and picking up these technologies and these engines to help bring you up to speed. So a little bit about me real quick. I'm a Unity developer. I've actually been in C# for over 20 years, since it actually betaed in 2000. So I enjoy Unity quite a bit. And I've spent most of my game development in Unity the last 10 years. However, I want to get into Unreal Engine more. I work with Xbox Studios on a tools team, and we do a lot of Unreal work. There's a lot of titles that are published in Unreal, and I just want to be more. I want to get more involved with that game engine for a lot of reasons, for my own development as well. So it was time for me to get into learning Unreal 5, which had just come out, as I understand it, in April, and kind of explore what I can do in the Unreal world with C++. So let's check out this project. We're going to look at Crypt Raider. Crypt Raider is actually the third project that you do in the course. The first project is all blueprints. The second project is very basic platformer that you do with some minimal C++ syntax. So Crypt Raider is the first one you actually start to really work in the C++. So the first thing, of course, when it comes to Unreal, is the graphics. Unreal out of the box looks phenomenal with very little effort. So you put this level together with a modular asset, and then you write a little bit of C++. There's not a lot going on in here, which I'll show you, but it looks really great. And in Unity, you have to mess with the high definition rendering pipelines, and you have to bring your assets over and convert them over, and it can be painful. Whereas Unreal, I can just focus on slapping some assets down and pretty much working out the box. So that's one of the big pluses of working in Unreal Engine here. Don't get me wrong, though, there's some downsides. I actually did a first version of this video, and it had failed because the quick compile that they have is pretty buggy. It'll reset some components, so it reset a bunch of my triggers for me. I had to go back through the level and wire everything back up again, which is kind of annoying. I'm going to look into how you can get around that. Probably just disable that quick compilation that they use, because it plagued me throughout the class. I had to go back and forth through the class and rehook up things, because the quick compilation, what that is it lets you compile code on the fly, which is awesome, but it also has a tendency to refresh things. So let's just take a look at the level, and then we'll look at what I did to make this work. So the whole point of this is we're here looking for a statue, a golden statue, treasure. So this is all the level we have. It's a dungeonist looking thing. There's alcove, but there's no golden statue. So we notice here there's a gargoyle. It's illuminated by a light. So we're going to pick this gargoyle up, and we're going to take it over to the alcove. And we're going to put this thing in the alcove. And by doing that, it triggers a secret wall. All right, so we got more to look at. So we're going to come down here. And again, the lighting and everything is amazing. I did very little polishing on this to make it look like it does. So there's a dead end down here. We're going to walk down this corridor. And we're going to turn around, and we see there's our treasure. Awesome. So we walk into this mausoleum type room. And we're going to grab this golden treasure. This is why we're here. So I picked this up. And, oh, of course, look, it's trapped. Can't get out. Bars. So it's a puzzle, so I can put it back on the pedestal, and we see, oh, that raises it. So what do we've got? Well, we've got a pot over there. So if I take my statue and I set it down, I pick this pot up, we can put the pot on this pedestal here and kind of trick it And now I can make my escape. So, haha, I've got my golden statue. We're going to make our escape. Back out the dungeon. And I'm going to get away with my statue. And I can use physics, and you can see it kind of... I didn't have to write any code to make that work. So I know it's a very limited game, but it's all about understanding how the engine works, how to set up a level, and how to make the components talk to each other. So the first thing we did is built the level. So the level is actually, again, it's a modular piece. They're using a free asset from the Unity Marketplace. It's called Medieval Dungeon. And you build all this. So you're going to go in and you build the entire level. Once we have the level created, the code to make everything I showed you is very, very minimal. You set everything up, you create a couple components, and away you go. So we create the trapdoor, we create the statue stand to respond to what's going on. Here's your golden statue, here's the pot. And the secret wall right here. So looking at the code to make this happen, so we create all these objects and we attach C++ components to those. So the C++ objects we create there's 3 of them. The first one is this grabber component. And all grabber does is that's what's responsible for picking up the objects. We have a mover, and the mover is placed onto the walls to make them move. And then we have a trigger component, which is responsible for seeing if something has stepped into the area, and if it has, what is that item? Is that item supposed to be what unlocks, whatever's supposed to happen? And they kind of go over H files, the header files in C++. If you're an advanced C++ developer, a lot of the C++ is very basic stuff. If you're brand new, you basically learn how to set all this up from scratch. So some things I learned, uProperty, this is how we enable the editor to see what's going on so we can actually view these properties in the editor. This is just like serialized field in Unity. That was pretty much the only thing I learned from this, me personally, but I've been messing with C++ for a long time. And again, this isn't my first rodeo with Unreal, so I know what a lot of this stuff is, but this is kind of what you're creating, these H files, and then the actual source code that does the work. So it's not a lot of code, and you'll find with video game development, a lot of your code is not really difficult. It's very basic tasks. It's all about taking what you're trying to do and break it out into smaller tasks and then writing code to do it. And all of this stuff here could be done in blueprints. Every single piece in here could be done in blueprints, and vice versa. All the blueprint work that was done could be done in C++. So I'm a coder. I enjoy writing the code more than I enjoy the visual blueprinting aspect, because I've seen some really horrendous blueprints that scare me. But you have your option, really. And if you're renting your own game, you can do what you want. They do have a really cool class on how to make a first-person shooter in nothing but blueprints. Which I'm going to do just to get better at the blueprints themselves. Because again, when we work in titles, and Unreal titles, they use both as well. So I've seen games written in nothing but blueprints. So those are things to pay attention to. But here's the main level blueprint we had, and all this does is associates the golden statue stand with the wall that goes up and down. It basically applies the mover. It lets the trigger see the moving component, so that when the code inside of C++ has to move it, it has access to what that mover is. So real quick, the trigger component has this public method here called setMover, which just gets a pointer to the mover object itself. And once it has that mover, we have the ability to trigger its basically move up and down, move actor. So yeah, that is this course. That's the third one. If you're doing this course, you'll build this and make it work just like I showed you here. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. There were some idiosyncrasies with Unreal Engine that I had to pick up. There's some bugs with the quick compiler that you have to deal with. And the documentation for Unreal is not the greatest with the C++, but it's all about really persistence when it comes down to it. You can make some amazing things with Unreal. Video games, you can make some amazing cinema. It is an industry standard for a reason. There's a harder learning curve if you're coming from a Unity background, but it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth looking into and checking out. If you're trying to get a job in the game development market, this is very commonly used tool or engine, at least for PC games and console games. Unity is used a lot for mobile development 2D games. So know what you want to create, know what you're interested in, and really get into that. That doesn't mean you can't create PC games with Unity. I've been doing it for a while. It's just that Unreal, you don't have to fight the graphics as much. And there's just a lot of cool stuff like their AI and their open world capabilities that I enjoy more. So anyhow, that was a little rundown. Thanks for watching. I'll post my next one. The next game you do in the series is a cartoon tanks game, which I'm looking forward to doing. They've changed a lot from the UE4 version that they had a few years ago. So this one's more cartoony. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it works and getting to play around with it a little bit more. So I'll post my progress then, and we'll see what you learn in that one. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it.